So I guess we'll start things off. Let's go down the line and talk about what everybody's working on and what projects you've been spending your time on recently. Uh, Josh, we'll start with you.
Oh boy. Um yeah, I mean if you're at the keynote yesterday, you'll know my main project recently has been the new thing we announced yesterday, Castaway Cay. Uh I've both been there in real life within the past like 3 months and took a lot of pictures as references. And also between me and Accident and NASA and oddly enough Zach, who's a tech, we've built a lot of it. Accident really loves his trees, but yes, that's been my baby the last few months.
Nice. All right, More, you want to go next?
Yeah, so like I said in the Expo, I've been mainly working on Galaxy's Edge. Been working on that for like 3 years now, I think. Basically redoing the entire land in the process. And I also hop around a lot. So recently I basically built all of ET because we had an old build and had techs interested in doing tech work for it. So I basically just rebuilt the entire thing in like 2 weeks or so tech could get started on that.
Oh, nice. Wow. Alrighty, Gabe, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Gabe, and I've been fortunate enough to work in like some of the things that you'll see in New MK West. Probably one of the most notable ones being New Haunted Mansion. So I'm super glad I got to work on something like that.
You're
Nice.
pretty new too, right? Like this earlier this summer, May or something.
Yeah, I got hired in May.
And
I
earlier
think
this
you
week,
got hired. I think you got hired when I was on my cruise.
I was hired on like I believe May 24th, I think.
Yeah, that would have been my Castaway Key day, ironically enough.
Yeah, so I'm pretty new, but I'm so glad I got to work on some big projects for you guys to experience.
Yeah, not only that, I believe Gabe here is also our newest Imagineer as well. Like Erdis Voltal from his earning.
Recently promoted, yes, like last week.
Yay. Thank you guys.
Nice. Well, welcome, Gabe. We're excited to have you. Brennan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Brennan, also known as Accident Prone Man. I kind of work on a lot of different things on the server. Just trying to think about it right now. Castaway Key is a big one. You got the Halloween Horror Nights stuff that's coming up right now. Been working on a lot of stuff in DOP, BGT, Knott's Berry Farm. Been working on stuff for Rise. Been working on stuff in Walt Disney World as well. Contemporary Resort was one of the big projects that we got out there that I helped finish up. Particularly for Bay Lake Tower, we had to completely redo that. And yeah, I just
redid everything.
And I just kind of work on everything on the server, it seems.
Yes, you tend to play at least a little bit of a role in most things that we push over the finish line. Dispy, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hello, I'm Dispy, and for the most part, I've just been working in Tokyo Disneyland and the custom parks, Explorer's Kingdom. So most of you probably have not seen my work since it's all still behind the scenes. But in Tokyo Disneyland, I've been working in Tomorrowland. I've started work in Adventureland as well. And for Explorer's Kingdom, I've focused work on San Francisco, and I've got some rides and some buildings done over there as well.
Yes, you're doing some really cool stuff with Explorer's Kingdom. We are going to show a couple screenshots for different projects people are working on. I will exclude Explorer's Kingdom from that because there's some fun stuff I have planned for marketing and showcasing that stuff in the future. But
All right.
if you've been around Tokyo, like you said, you did a lot of stuff in Tomorrowland. So if you've been to the Tokyo Disneyland park that we have, you've probably seen some of this stuff around. NASA, you want to go ahead?
Hi all. Well, I'm NASA, and I think the most recent project that I did was probably was Castaway, and a lot of some of the contemporary resort with Accident. The main thing that you all seen all my work with has been every castle show on Disneyland and Walt Disney World and Tokyo. The castles are basically that's my main thing, really.
Yeah, that's been your thing for a little
That's been
bit.
my thing with Josh, and again, strangely enough, Zach, who's over in the corner for some reason. But yeah,
Oh, he's not an Imagineer. He's just an honorary Imagineer sitting alone in the corner.
All right, and last up we have Rachel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Rachel. So recently I haven't had just like one single project that that's caught my eye. I've kind of helped out here and there a little bit with the Castaway, a little bit with TFN. Mostly right now I've been focusing my time as a GR trainer, but hoping to get back more into the Imagineering side.
Sweet. Well, we appreciate it. You've had a lot of, similar to Brennan, you've done like a little bit of work on a lot of things. A lot of the like little armor stand things have been where you
Yeah,
put
that's
your
what I
name.
do.
Well, sweet. We'll open the floor to questions in a little bit. There are a couple questions I want to go through, unless anybody else has anything they want to talk about.
No, go ahead.
Sweet. So similar to the last one, Gabe, I'm probably going to exclude you from this one just because you're a little too new. But I'd love to know what everybody's favorite thing they've worked on has been. Some of the people on the stage, I mean, Josh has been here for 11 and a half years. Moore's been here for a while. Brennan's been here for, the lion's share of the team up here has been here for a couple years. So I'd love to know what everybody's favorite project that you've worked on has been, and maybe a quick reason as to why that one is your standout project. Josh, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not strictly Imagineering, but like the big thing that I've done. I mean, I've done a lot of big things, but like the biggest thing is like Happily Ever After, right? Like, because you and me and Ryan were all like basically the leads of that, and we oversaw everything, and it's still like one of the things like you want to show off the server. You show Happily Ever After. It's showing its age a little bit now, but like it was our thing for a while. Like it was the big thing, and so that's sort of the thing that I'm most proud of, probably, that I've personally been involved in.
Yeah, I think we talk about this whenever Happily Ever After is mentioned. When we first started working on it, and we were like, oh, we want to do projections on the castle. That sort of like reasoning behind it didn't exist. Like what we were imagining in our mind, we had no physical reference of what we wanted the end product to be. And so some of those early concept castles were a little rough because we hadn't figured out yet what the style guide was going to be for things being a technical effect versus being a build, and what the interactive portion of the castle would be. So there's a lot of really early discovery.
Yeah, well, we weren't even sure, like, did we build everything out of like blocks and try to like frame by frame animate it, and then we sort of came up with the armor stands and blockamations and yeah.
Some of those early tests were rough. I remember some of the castles made it into the final show and they're still there, but there are a couple things that you see and you go like, yeah, that could have been armor stands, or that could have been, particles or whatever. But it was a really cool mix and it was a really cool discovery. That's probably one of my favorites also. Moore, I have a feeling I know what your answer is, but if you want to tell everybody else.
Well, what do you think my answer is?
I'm going to guess one of our big announcements from last night. That or the Germany pavilion.
I was going to say one man
I would say
stream.
Germany.
I was going to say Germany.
Oh no, one man stream. No. Too many bad memories of that place. Took way too long on that.
For
But
those
yeah,
of you
I'd
guys who
probably say
don't
like
know, Moore did all of the little miniatures that are inside of One Man Stream. So all the little like statues and little models that are in the theme park area, that was all handmade by Moore.
yeah, that's sort of like the longest we've taken to build like a 2x2 block area. I think I spent like 4 days or so just doing one of those models. I think the Pixar Pier model is the largest. I think it has like 250, almost 300 armor stands.
Oh my god!
And they were like all animated in like 1/4 of an inch increments and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah. So my answer is probably going to be like the World Showcase we did in 2020, and especially the Germany Pavilion, when we like really started doing all of the armor stand detailing. Not to the level we do it now, but that was like the stepping stone of actually using armor stands for detailing.
Yeah, when I think about like us leaning into making those miniatures, it's the Germany pavilion and then Brably with America. You two were like the first two people to fully dive into that and make it look good.
Yeah, and Japan as well. I really
Yes,
like the gift shop there.
Japan was a little bit later, but America and Germany were definitely like the early proving grounds.
Those one-man stream models still like really hold up, considering how they were like a proving ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabe, I'm gonna assume your answer is Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, correct.
What I'll ask you just a different question, because that was a project that you came into the team on. Magic Kingdom has been seen by hundreds of thousands of people on here. Did you feel any pressure, or what was going through your mind when you were assigned Haunted Mansion, one of the most popular rides in the world of all time, one of our flagship attractions, as your first project?
Well, I was pretty excited, and I thought, like, I'm so grateful to be able to work on such a big project. Yeah, I felt a little bit of pressure, but as soon as I got to building it, I felt right at home.
That's awesome,
So-
and it looks really great. I'm excited for it to be done.
Yeah, thank you.
Brennan, you've touched everything under the sun. What's your favorite?
Do I have to pick one? Just to clarify with Gabe's project too, just want to say we usually don't assign those big projects to our EMPs to start off with, just because they're so big and there's a lot of like things have to go into them. But Gabe, took it in stride and he really knocked it out of the park with this
Well, I'm
one.
pretty sure he like killed it in 2 days on the rest of Liberty Square, and we're like, oh, maybe we could assign him something bigger.
Well,
So
at
just
that
like-
point, we had like nothing else left in Liberty Square. It was just Haunted Mansion that had to be touched up.
So just to give it a good shout out to Gabe because how much good work he did on this. There was a complete ground up refurb on the exterior of Haunted Mansion, and it took, I think, 5 of us forever to try to figure out how we want to do the exterior. And his was the final version that we all agreed with.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of discussion. So kudos to you, Gabe. You crushed it, and I'm excited for it to open in the future.
Thank you.
Now we get back to Accident picking his favorite child.
Yeah, he's going through the list of everything.
There's so many things. I know, like my first project I ever started on was Autopia over in Disneyland. That's where some of my first ASTs occurred, like with Asimo. Some of my first pixel art, where you guys dragged me onto the pixel art team, kicking and screaming because I messed it up so badly in the first place.
Yes, can I tell a fun story?
Sure, go ahead.
When Brennan was an EME, I did not think he was going to last. And that was like, there was sentiment among some of us that like, I think you stumbled a little bit and you struggled to find your footing at first. And it was like the initial pixel art you were doing wasn't necessarily the best. And something about Autopia made it stand out from the other stuff we were doing. And eventually we gave you a bunch of feedback, and it worked out really, really well. But yeah, I remember at one point I was thinking like, yeah, he's probably, I don't know, early on, I would say probably in like the bottom tier of our builders. And you have very quickly like made yourself like comfortably top 5.
It's really funny too, because you guys also hired me initially not for 1-to-1, but for working on like big sets. So
yes, you were going to be working on Soren, and we've pulled you in 900,000 directions. And that was the one reason that I was hesitant to be like, yeah, it's not working out, was because we had sort of just thrown you at that project knowing that that wasn't a strong suit for you. But like, you persevered and crushed it.
yeah, and that wasn't even the worst like AST either. That freaking satellite that was over in Space Mountain that I ended up building right next to Abe of all places was also a nightmare. Just like my favorite project though. Oh god, I really did enjoy working on like the Hogsmeade and Jurassic Park expansions, or like those additions that we made where we essentially we had to completely rebuild those areas from the ground up because they were not in a good state when we initially looked at those, but we really wanted to introduce rides like Hagrid's and Velocicoaster to the server. And so just like having something that's different from the castle parks, because we have a lot of places do Castle Parks these days, and everybody comes on here for Disneyland and Walt Disney World. But just having something that's different on offer, I always find it very fun to work on because it's something obscure and it's something you can introduce to a whole new audience as well. So getting those wand windows to work, figuring out how to place the Raptors in place on Velocicoaster, ASTing the 300 plus armor stand fossils in the middle of Discovery Center, in addition to all the other armor stand setups that are around that place. Those are all projects I really did enjoy working on.
Awesome. That's quite the list. You very much avoided the question of one favorite, but that's okay. We'll allow it.
Well, no, I mean, if I were to pick one favorite, it probably would be Jurassic Park, actually.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think that's like in the Accident Prone Man highlight reel, that's probably the first clip that's shown.
How many trees are in there?
Too many. And they're all like palm trees too, so you're limited in what you can do with it.
Alrighty. Dispy, you're kind of similar to Gabe. You don't have a ton of open things that you've worked on, but if you had to pick a favorite, what would it be?
Does it have to be open?
It doesn't have to be open. I don't know why I said open.
Well, if it doesn't have to be open. Okay, I was debating whether it was going to be something. Well, obviously it was going to be in Tokyo Disneyland, but I was debating whether it would be something in Fantasyland or Tomorrowland. Because Tomorrowland was the first place I ever built in, and I spent the most time there probably. But if I'm thinking more about it, it's probably the Queen of Hearts banquet hall, like the entire exterior in Fantasyland, because that was the first big AST I ever did. Like those two teacups outside over there, and it was just my most fun build, honestly. I just enjoyed working on that the most compared to everything else I've done so far.
I remember going through those in the roundup, and it was 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and we're like, "Wow, this looks really good."
I remember thinking "Oh my god, somebody's actually working on Tokyo."
That
too. Tokyo progress comes in small waves. There's another small wave happening right now, but it's always fun when progress happens. And Dispy and I think Brennan, you also helped on some of Tomorrowland. But when we were opening up one thing in every park, we had talked about a holiday, the holiday fireworks show that we were doing at Tokyo, counting as the one thing, and it just felt kind of weak.
Yeah, no, I argued against that pretty hard.
It was a mess show, anyways.
But Dispy and Brennan were like, "Oh, we have some of Tomorrowland done. We could open up and not do any rides." And then King stepped up and eventually got Happy Ride open. But yeah, it was a very serendipitous moment that we were able to, at the last second, December 31st, able to open up a section of Tokyo.
Yeah, and particularly for Baymax too. King reverse engineered the heck out of Baymax. Essentially taking the old Mater's Junkyard Jamboree model and just completely reprogramming it to modern standards.
Yeah. Alrighty, NASA, you're another one with sort of a wide mix of things. What's your favorite?
Honestly, despite all of the stress and pain and suffering that gave me, I'd have to go with Minis. Minis Wonderful.
I was going to say that for you too.
It has to be. Despite it took years to finally get that show running. I think I proposed it to you in 21 when we proposed to do it, and it finally got done last year.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, you're referring to the
Minis
Wonderful Christmas Time fireworks show that they do for the Very Merry Party. If you haven't seen it, there is one section in particular, the Carol of the Bells section, where parts of the castle are glowing as if it's neon stained glass, and it's synchronized to the music. And I remember seeing it in real life going how the heck are we going to pull that off? And usually I feel when something new happens in the parks, the first thing pretty much all of us do is go through and with a microscope, go through every single effect, every single wall, and dissect how we're going to create that thing. I just remember with Minis thinking oh my gosh, this is going to take us years to do. And this is post-pandemic world. We have 9,000 projects up and spinning. And I just remember thinking, like, it took us 9 months to do Happily Ever After. There's no way I could have everybody stop work on this or stop work on everything else for months just for a holiday show. And then NASA stepped up with a couple others, and it was how long was it? 2 months?
2 months.
Did the thing in 2 months versus the 9 months it took for Happily Ever After. I mean, that's just crazy. But
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
That Carol the Bell section, that took me hours. I think that took me a couple days worth of work to try to figure out how to do that, and then setting it up, and then frustratingly, painstakingly going over and timing it all correctly.
Well, the optimization too, so that it doesn't crash everyone's
Yeah,
game every
because
time it comes up.
I think the original version that I tested, like the first version I had, it did crash the game. Because I think I crashed with that show, with running that show. I think I crashed Dreamscape like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. But it's in a good spot now. It's all functional.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show now.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. The guests love it. I love it. I'm sure Ryan also likes it. Rachel, what was your favorite thing you've worked on?
Speaking for me.
I think my favorite thing is actually something that I got to use a lot of creativity with, was with the 10th anniversary Abe Museum.
Ah, yes, that's a good one. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, it was thrown out just like, what can we do for the 10th anniversary that showcases what we are as a server? And so I kind of took Abe and changed the museum that's outside of it to reflect the history of MCParks. And got to throw some creative touches here and there, got to use a little bit of humor, and I thought it was very me in what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember not knowing much about it, and then it just sort of being like dropped on us, like, oh, hey, I did this thing, and being like, oh my gosh, that popped up out of nowhere. And it was a huge hit also. We don't, outside of like history panels and occasional discussions, we don't really talk about sort of like the early years of MC Park, so it was cool to display some of that stuff. Ryan, what about you? What's your favorite ride that you've built on the server?
Oh boy, there's just so many to choose from.
Ryan really loves that gift shop behind Seven Dwarfs. It's the only thing I know that he kind of maybe built, and that's not even there anymore.
It's gone. Yeah, I think I think I was one that got rid of that.
There is one more thing that I built that is still surviving.
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Hold on, wait, something I gotta go get rid of. Hold on. Okay.
Well, no, it very much does need to be gotten rid of, but it's the concierge lounge at the Grand Floridian.
Oh yeah,
It's
well
on
we
the
just
docket.
got rid of.
It's on the docket.
We just got rid of Darren's hotel, so
I've been asking people to redo the Grand Floridian for so long.
Since it was built.
Got outlines.
Yeah. Well, yeah, literally since it was built. Fun little story. So we told the team at the time in 2015 that when they finished Grand Floridian, they could start building new MK. That was the deal.
that was a mistake.
That was the deal. What I didn't think at the time, I don't know how much this was me and how much this was Darren. Darren, it might have been you, to be honest. But I don't want to pin it on you. But what I wasn't really thinking about was, if we tell them when they finish this, then they can start the project they really want to work on. What quality of work do I think that's going to inspire? Are they going to do a good job and take their time, or are they gonna rush it? And turns out it was the second one. That's why the Grand Floridian's not too great.
I don't remember the exact specific situation, but if there's ever any sort of like shiny object deal made like that, 99% of the time it's me. So I'll take the fall for that. So I'm sorry, Grand Floridian's bad. I hope everyone enjoys all the rides you got instead. You're welcome.
That's true. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Wasn't the last deal that you gave us was for Tomorrowland, wasn't it? For Walt Disney World
there is an ongoing deal that is very top secret with Mr. Tess that hasn't been shared to the world yet and won't be shared today. But there is an ongoing deal, and I think Tess is listening. So this is reassurance that I'm holding up my end if you hold up your end.
I think I know what that deal is too.
I think you do. I think I floated the idea to leadership. But Darren deals never stop.
All right, Darren, what was your favorite thing we've done?
Contemporary.
That I personally worked on. I want to say contemporary because like that's where I met Ryan, and like, you know, there's a lot of MCParks lore and history to like that really bad build. But my favorite thing has to be the original Main Street. When we were building it, and this sort of like leans into like history panel stuff. When we started building the server, we had 0 open attractions, and it was like half of Main Street was outlined. And I was just advertising on my YouTube channel, like, oh, hey, my friends and I are building Disney World in Minecraft. Come and watch us. And some days we'd have like 10, 15, 20 people online doing nothing but just watching us outline Main Street and build up Main Street. And when I think about like my favorite MCParks memories, just like me and a couple of friends, you know, like Josh was there, Parker was there, a handful of others that are still
Is
here.
this when you taught me how to build?
Yeah, it was like around that time. But I don't know, thinking about like those memories are always like the really big highlights, right? Because like it wasn't people that were interested in like the flashiness of the theme park server community. It was people that were just interested in watching the process and watching people do the thing. So it was cool to be able to do the thing. It was part of what inspired us to introduce early access for donors, was to enable people to see what we're doing as we're doing it. But that's sort of like a long-winded kind of sort of answer. Not much that I originally built is on the server. I think that some of my work is in the currently existing Diagon Alley and Men in Black area, and then some of Asia and Animal Kingdom is mine. But after that, not much. And maybe a little bit of Pandora, but there's not a ton. I pretty much stepped down from building entirely in like 2015, 2016. So stuff in 2017 is like the upper limit of where anything I touched would be. Alrighty, guys. For my next question to the group.
Hold on, I want to.
Okay.
Oh wait, okay. I saw Faulted was in here, but I think he had left. He doesn't have a laptop, so he's not actually on the server. But we had sort of skipped over him.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh wait, no, he said, "Can you add me back?" If you're in the chat, raise your hand and I'll add you back. You're kind of new still too. I don't know, like you probably just follow in Gabe's footsteps.
He's literally exact Gabe's footsteps because he's also on Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, so the thing about Vaulted as well, he's one of our more active earning my ears at the moment. So when you guys, if you do apply to become an Imagineer, your first role is going to be as an Imagineer earning my ears role. Essentially, it's a little bit more limited, a little bit more of like a supervisory role that we have for our new members of the team. But particularly for Vaulted, he's been working a lot on new MK stuff. Most recently, in addition to following around Gaver Haunted Mansion, he also has updated all of our trees around the hub in
Okay, he's in here.
new MK as well. Oh, hey!
Hello.
Faulted, what's been your favorite project that you've worked on?
For me, it
Yeah.
has to be Haunted Mansion. Reason why, well, first, the point that you made was it's seen by hundreds of thousands of people in real life, and it's also one of your flagship attractions on MCParks. So, and it's also a really challenging ride to build, but it was really fun to help build all the scenes, from the scene with the graveyard to even the hitchhiking ghost scene. It was really fun to build because starting off, it was challenging, but from when I got into MCParks, I felt really welcomed and I felt like it was home and I really enjoyed it. So Haunted Mansion is my favorite one.
Nice. I'm excited for people to see sort of what's happening inside the mansion when we I almost said in a couple weeks. It's not a couple weeks away. It's a little bit further out than that. But once we're able to finally open it up.
Yeah, it's a real honor. And I appreciate y'all for letting me be on MC
Yeah,
Parks.
of course. We love having you here. I guess my next question would be, think on this one for a second, guys, but what's the biggest surprise that you had when like joining the team here, or surprise that you didn't think of would happen when you became an MC Parks cast member and has sort of just become like part of what you do? If anyone's ready, you can just go ahead
I
and
can-
speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can go ahead and go.
Let's start with Rachel.
Personally, biggest surprise was just finding where my niche was. Like, I came onto the Imagineering team already knowing I could do armor stand work, but not really trusting myself when it came to like block placement and what was correct and what was in style. And I've kind of learned where my style blends with MC Parks now and what my strengths and my weaknesses are.
Nice. So that sense of discovery.
Yeah, that was in general. Yeah.
Nice. NASA, what about you?
I'd probably just say the fact that we don't really have a thing of like, hey, you have to do this project or you have to do this project. It's whatever we basically really want to do. And it's
Yeah,
more like
definitely.
It's more
Unless you're
open
making deals with me.
or Castaway.
Well,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are deals with Darren's are deals that you have put yourself into because you want to do it. So it's still sort of in the same vein.
But yeah,
Also, regarding
basically-
Castaway, you rolled yourself into that one.
Yeah,
Josh-
no, it could have
Josh
just
called-
been accident
Josh
and
called
I. It could have
Josh
just
called
been
it.
accident and I, and you came in all on your own.
That's really
But yeah,
funny.
no, just being-
I saw Brian mentioned in the chat hashtag save Darren builds, like there's some kind of like endangered species. The Darren Builds Preservation Society. Can we get it? We should. Oh man, I should go back and find backups of all of the things,
Like old stuff from
Yeah.
2014,
We should make a
2015.
little
conservation area.
yeah,
I
make a
think
little
old
like,
MK
museum.
still exists somewhere.
Let's put it on a shirt.
You're telling me that you could have
gone.
gone back and gotten Epcot before we made it a dirt pit, and we could have not had the dirt pit for years, and we just
Wait,
didn't.
yeah, hold on, wait. What? Back up. All the work I did could have been just saved and not had it.
Well, it was
For a
gonna be
while?
weird to get rid of it. Tell him do it. We talked about it. There was lots of reasons why we didn't.
Walt Disney Imagineering wishes they had the same option.
Yeah.
Wait, we could just roll this back?
Look, in the wise words of Dr. Jones, it belongs in a museum, but it should be updated.
Dispy, what about you?
Honestly, it's the same as NASA. Like, first, I was expecting to be assigned to a specific project when I got here, but then accident was just like, oh, just do whatever you want, go wherever you please. So I just got to choose whatever I want. So, basically, I was not expecting all this liberty, since I genuinely expected that there would be a whole, I don't know, sort of process to this. I guess like you would be assigned to this, and then you would only be working on that. But as I found out, like I can just go in between projects, and well, I don't recommend, but I can just take a break from this project, go to another one first, and then when I'm feeling like it, I go back to that project. So that's basically what shocked me the most when I first joined the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example. The main reason we do that is we don't want people to get burnt out, right? And you guys are here dedicating your time and your effort to the project. So we should let you do that to whatever project you want. You know, if there's something open and available, we shouldn't be putting up walls behind it, or in front of it, rather. How about you, Brennan? Anything noteworthy?
I'll say this. I'm surprised that I was even accepted onto the team in the first place. So
We're a bottom 5 in Darren's builders.
I know. When I first started, well, it's like because I didn't even have a theme park building background or anything like that at all when I first joined. Like I had been on another server for about 8 years prior to that, and I had slowly worked my way up to like a builder role on there. I was only on MCParks for about a month before I decided to put in my application, and knowing how high of a pedigree that most of the builders had on here, even back then, I thought I had no shot. And even when I was brought onto the team, and then like the first project I remember picking up was like the first day I hopped on, and Darren was looking for someone to help out with like a replacement for the office spaces that used to be on Multi World because of all the clutter that was accumulating in them. They wanted to move it off site to somewhere else, and that's how Emerald Pines got started. Even though I didn't think I was going to be there for long. So just like the trajectory since then it's always been a surprise, and I'm just amazed by how far we've gotten from there since then.
I forgot about the early days of Emerald Pines and the lead up to it from just the very chaotic previous offices that we had. That's a good example.
What did you build before if it wasn't theme parks?
So before I worked on like doing like server hubs for like survival servers, I built a lot of boats.
Oh, convenient.
Built some castles here and there, like medieval and nautical were like two of my big styles. But I tried to branch out to other like different things because back then I was also trying to look into getting into architecture, so I was actually taking some of those design philosophies seriously. And trying to incorporate that into my build style as I was discovering how I would build.
Nice. Gabe, what about you as somebody who's newer on the team? What were you surprised by once you joined the team that like was how we operated?
I was just happy first off that I made it into the team, and second off that like the fact that I got to work on such an important project like such as a Haunted Mansion, something so big and will be seen by so many people like as my first like actual project. I thought that was so cool. Really made me feel included.
Nice. Faulted, what about you? Although I imagine the answer is probably pretty similar.
Oh, I think he left.
Oh yeah, he just left.
He said he crashed the last time. He's on his
Okay.
phone. He may just be having issues. Yeah, he said crashed again.
We'll circle back. More, do you want to go?
Sure. I think the most surprising thing for me is how little I actually build, because like the past year I've been mostly doing tech and like some pixel art, a bit of resource pack. It's just really easy to like cross-train in other departments. So I've basically done everything on the server apart from maybe audio production and development. But that's one of the things I really like, is that we enable our cast members to cross-train in other departments that they might be interested in. So I think for me it was, I really wanted to do like these little windows on Main Street. I don't know if you know them, in the Emporium. There's like small animated scenes for movies. And I really wanted to do that because it was armor stands, and those armor stands happened to move in that tiny space there. And since nobody else wanted to deal with animating stuff in a 1-by-1 block area, I decided, hey, let's learn tech. So that's when I started learning tech and really getting into that. And as I continued doing that, I also branched out into resource pack and pixel art, because while we do like have the departments to create the hats and the skins and the pixel art and stuff, sometimes it's just easier to do it yourself because you have a vision and you know what you need for the specific thing. So that's basically what I've been doing. I work on a project like in its entirety and figure out how to do every single step of it. And that's why I haven't been doing a lot of building, because since my main project is Galaxy's Edge, we finished building that like 2 years ago, and since then it's basically all tech work. So that's what I've been doing for the past almost 2 years now.
Nice. What about
Faulted is
you,
back.
Josh?
Faulted, do you want to go since
yeah.
you crashed last time?
You can go ahead if you want.
Sure. I mean, I joined when the server was a month old, so
Yeah, Josh, think back to 11 and a half years ago.
expectations are a little bit low. I definitely did not expect. Well, first of all, I definitely didn't expect to be here for the next 11 years. I don't think Ryan and Darren did either. And I didn't expect like the server would grow in such a way like we're the top theme park server like in the community at this point. Like it was a small little community doing, cool stuff. I didn't expect what would come in the next decade after that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sort of mine, is like just how people would make this place the thing that it is, and how much it would grow over time. Faulted, welcome back. The question for the panel is, what were you not expecting when you joined the team that you realized was like a thing about the server?
When I joined MCParks for the first time, the community, be honest, the community, not just guests but also staff, has been so great. Like the way that we do these things for y'all and how fun it is, because we're all volunteers and it's just really fun to like see all your reactions and also to see how positive the community is, because the theme park community is supposed to be about positivity because we're building Disney, to be honest, and all the other theme parks, and to have to escape of the real world and all the bad things in the MC parks, it's just really great. So for me, it's the community because it's been just so good. And I am excited to see how much more the community will grow over time for the next 11 years.
That's awesome. I love that. What a wholesome answer. For our panel, does anybody that's watching have any questions that they'd like answered?
In the Expo chat or the Minecraft server is probably fine. We'll see it in either.
Another thing that could,
Preferably the
that are up
Expo
here.
chat.
for theorists that are up here, we are also we still call ourselves the elves. We're the holiday team as well.
Oh yeah.
I've got a question for the panel.
Okay.
Has there been any skills that you've learned at MCParks that you have found have been transferable to other aspects of your life?
Ooh, Ryan's favorite question.
That's my favorite question. I'm going to ask that to every department
People
panel.
skills.
Tell us more.
So, I'll put it this way. I'm a federal officer, so I have to be in the public eye almost all day, every day. Being able to talk to people and being open and being upfront of a lot of people, this has helped me a significant amount up to coming here and working, and then going to work and being able to do the same thing.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Anybody else find any real world applications for your time on MCParks?
I would say yes, kind of on the same lines as NASA. Mine have been more of patience with people. I am a store manager for a retail store, and taking over a team of people has taught me like the patience that's needed, and you kind of learn that. I've learned that through my time here, just patience with guests, patience with different scenarios. So overall, I just say it's like being more open-minded towards how different people are.
Nice. Anybody else? Any other skills you've learned from MCParks?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's just go down the line, and then if you don't have anything, just say no. Who was that? So we did Rachel, we did NASA, so I guess Gypsy is next.
I can ask more on Brennan.
Well, I guess I'm in the same boat as NASA and Rachel, but like another different thing actually. I've learned like how to approach the researching side differently, because working in Tokyo, you have to like you can't just search things in English. You actually have to look at different angles here, try to find the references, especially since they're so rare. You have to look through various YouTube videos, various Google images, and like
all the
different
further
websites.
reviews.
Yep. So I've had to go through all of that, and I've learned to apply it in like my college life, I guess, and in my recent internship as well, since that was more research focused. So I've learned to apply what those various research techniques that I've learned here.
That's a good one. I haven't thought about that as an answer.
We're,
It is a skill.
we're-
Like, knowing how to look things up on the internet is a skill.
Yeah, for sure. We're lined up on the stage here, and so that's sort of the order that we're going in, and it's almost the order that we're in the stage channel on, but not quite. So, accident is next.
Yeah, and just like with all the researching stuff too, like it's better to research stuff in different languages if you're working on international parks. Like with Tokyo, you want to look up things in kanji, or at DLP, it's better to look up things in French because that's where all your better sources for those parks are going to be. And speaking of stuff like that, kind of going off of that, I think one of the most important things I learned is organization. It's because I used to work at Legoland, California for about 3.5 years, and I ended up ascending through the ranks really quickly over there too. And just with all my time that I spent here on MCParks, not just as a role as an Imagineer, just building things and working cooperatively with like other Imagineers and team members, but then also in a trainers and leads role as well, where there's a lot more organizing to those kind of things. You have to kind of, settle into a rhythm and cadence to how you approach those kind of situations, because it's very different from just hopping onto the server, getting out your favorite block and your wooden axe and starting to build something. There's a lot more thought that has to go into it. So it's kind of just helping train myself up for that, with all the different systems, all the different file systems, and all the different like codes that we use on here, and the different in-game building things as well, because we have World Edit, we have Voxel Sniper, we have armor stand tools, we have the train carts and the train carts attachments, we have show files, which run in several different forms of coding formats that some of us Imagineers have gotten into as well, in addition to the in-game features that are already there. Just having a sense of navigating your way through all of that has really helped, at least like advance my situation whenever I have been in careers in IRL, just helping me kind of sort through all of it.
Awesome. I think Gabe is next.
I would say kind of similar to what Brennan and Dispy said. Like, first off, finding good reference. There's lots of websites that they've introduced me to that help find like reference for parts that maybe Google Earth doesn't show as well. And then also just learning kind of the custom resources we have here to offer, like our custom point locating system, or our own custom kind of more built off of the armor stand tools that he mentioned. We have our own ways to make it super advanced and kind of similar to what you see in the park. So I thought it's been super fun to kind of learn those custom resources we have here that we can use to provide the amazing parks that we have here.
Cool. Faulted.
Yeah, for me, it's really trying to provide the best experiences for people in general. In work, as I'm a musician, when I have a gig, we try to give the people that pay us the best experience possible. So on MC Parks, that was a help to me because we're trying to make the best experience possible for y'all. If it's all the models and all the new builds and audio and even the staff, we try to be the best versions of ourselves and try to bring out the greatest things we possibly can for y'all, because that's what we're doing it for. Because we enjoy what we're doing and we want y'all to enjoy it as much as we do.
Awesome. More is next.
I think for me, it's like the people skills. Especially once I became a trainer a few years ago, because at that point you're fully representing the server to new potential teammates. So you interview them, you get to know them, you train them. And all of these people skills are things I think can really be transferred to real life, because at the end of the day, if you start a job, you also have to talk to people all of the time. And you're also always representing yourself and the company you're working for. So it's been really nice to get first-hand experience with that through MCParks.
Yeah, more. That's been something that I think has been awesome to see from you and Brennan and everyone who's a trainer also, is to see like sort of the progression of learning how to do these things and becoming really adept at them. Because like nobody starts good at that kind of stuff. You know, like you have to try it out. You got to realize where the pitfalls are, and you kind of like, you know, it requires all like social awareness and it's a muscle that you got to flex, and it's really cool to see people kind of progress and get better at that kind of thing from starting from scratch. I love that.
Yeah, and lots of that is experience, and
Exactly.
this is
Exactly.
experience.
Yeah, and it's like a low stakes place to get experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can't mess up that badly. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can, but like it's not
Yeah,
that big of a deal.
yeah,
most
what's
of
the worst
time.
thing gonna happen? Someone on a Minecraft server gets mad at you, like it'll be fine.
Basically.
That never happens. All right, let's. Was that everybody? Josh, did you go?
No. I mean, in my real job, I use knockoff Trello like every day, and I use like Visual Studio and Git every day, and you know, all sort of skills that I learned here first, and then you know, I managed to make it applicable elsewhere. So yeah, and I definitely went into my real life job going, oh, I know how to do this and this and this because I've already done it in like these, you know, fun happily ever after, well, like fun in a Minecraft way, happily ever after and like project management and stuff. So that's my thing.
Nice. Alrighty, yeah. We'll move over
That's
to
everyone.
audience questions. What'd you say?
I said that's everyone.
First question I saw was from Ansem5, which was question for the panel. What are ways to learn how to get good at building recreations? Anyone want to take this?
As someone as More and I here, we always are responding to all the Imagineer applications. One advice I always give out to people is practice. Again, like, well, before I even hopped onto MCParks, I was a builder elsewhere, and I'd been trying to hone Minecraft for years before then. So, like, having all the fanciest blocks in the world, like, we get a lot of applications all the time where it's from newer versions of Minecraft, but just because you have all the newest blocks doesn't necessarily mean you know how to use them well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, it doesn't really matter what version of Minecraft that you're in. Again, we're in 1.12.2 here. We're about almost 10 versions behind at this point, but you can still see that the build quality stands out here. So, like, just keep practicing and honing your build style because everybody builds slightly differently from each other. So you need to find your style, your niche that fits for you, and just keep at it. And I find too that like taking a risk every now and then, trying to push yourself out there, trying to take on things that might seem scary to you or seem they're completely out of your comfort zone. So say like you're somebody who likes to work in exteriors, you know, how about you take on an interior, or how about you try and build a tree from scratch, or maybe trying to like terraform a little bit, or make something that's a completely inorganic shape. Just taking those chances and working on yourself on and essentially improving your craft, I think is the most important thing to learning how to build good. And of course, imitation is the highest form of flattery, so possibly looking at some of your favorite builds or builders and trying to imitate their style to try and help figure out yours is also never bad advice.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to, if you're building something, like let's go with the firehouse. That's like a typical one where we'll point people in that direction. Build just a version of the Magic Kingdom fire station or firehouse, and then when you're done with it, look at MCParks or some other iteration of it, and take note of what those differences are, and say like, why did they choose this design philosophy? What were the decisions that led to there being differences? And see if you could take what that feedback is and apply that to your own build. So maybe not even like one-to-one copy what we have, but within the same spirit of what we've built, could you then improve your build? Next question we have is for NASA specifically, which is, why did you choose MCParks?
I'm one of the ones that
What
came
a
in with
targeted
Achievement Hunter.
question.
You're the what?
Achievement Hunter.
Okay, nice.
Oh, nice.
Wait, you came from Achievement Hunter? Did I know that?
Yes, I came from
You didn't
Achievement
know
Hunter.
that? I knew that.
Okay, maybe I did know that. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, it feels familiar.
I also came from Achievement Hunter.
Oh man, that really did us wonders, didn't it?
It did. As well as crashing Walt Disney World for several days in a row. I remember hiding on BGT for a couple
Man,
long
you
times.
came on
Oops.
because of them, and you immediately knew the strategy.
Well, no, because I got hired. I think I got hired for GR before the second video came out.
Oh my, you sped ran it.
You hit on BGT too. You hit on old BGT as well.
Yes,
Oh, you
because
poor
there was
thing.
no choice though, because Walt Disney World wasn't able to handle the crowd.
Alrighty, next question is from Mythic, who said, what projects do you think was the hardest to find reference for? Nessa, you said anything in Tokyo. Anybody have conflicting information? I think that's the general answer across the room.
If anybody can find reference photos for Hokusai or anything that's usable for Busch Gardens Tampa, you'll be my hero.
Yeah, the less Walt Disney World you get, the harder it is to find pictures of things. It's part of the reason why we don't have some of the more regional parks like a Six Flags, or even like Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Is references are just hard to find outside of the Orlando and Anaheim area.
I mean, we do have a Six Flags park. It's Knott's Berry Farm now.
Yeah, right.
Well, like
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that in the keynote yesterday in the chat.
I will say, Knott's Berry Farm is also just like right up the street from Disneyland. So people who go to Disneyland take reference photos there too. So it's easier to find references there than Busch Gardens.
I'm just saying that if it wasn't for me, Castaway Cay would have been very difficult.
Build Alton Towers. I don't think we have any plans for Alton Towers, and I think you know that, Frankie.
I think this goes back to the same thing before with the lack of references for more regional parks.
Yeah.
No, actually, Alton Towers
gonna
has plenty of
say-
references. It's just we have other parks for
If I was gonna,
I haven't looked for references for it.
if I was
So-
gonna pick another park, I would lobby really hard, and I would get all the Europeans on my side for Efteling.
Oh, I 100% agree.
That would be what I would want to do next.
Counter argument, Phantasialand.
That would also, I mean, it's really small, Phantasialand. My problem with Phantasialand is you're going to have the Disneyland. They use their space so well that I feel like one-to-one would be a problem. You might have to do a bigger scale for that.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so that brings us to our next question from Disney Fan, which was, if you could choose one new park to build, non-Disney, what would it be and why? They suggested Busch Gardens Williamsburg, as that park has terrain, thrilling coasters, and gorgeous European theming. I don't know why that park hasn't been built yet. Been waiting for Busch Gardens since 2018.
Well, two of those factors are probably a reason why we'd be scared to start it: the terrain and the gorgeous European theming. Because that park's also filled with trees, isn't it? Yeah, it's nothing
Yes,
trees
it's
over there.
nothing, because Busch Gardens Williamsburg is my home park. It is a lot of trees. It's a lot of terrain. There is, yes, each lane is themed, which is really nice. But getting source videos for Busch Gardens Williamsburg is not easy because people don't record it like they do for the Disney World.
That's partly why I think my vote would actually probably be Silver Dollar City in Missouri, because people do record that one. Yeah, it has tons of source footage and everything available.
We
My vote.
We almost had an in with Silver Dollar City at some point, didn't we? Or am I?
I love Silver Dollar City.
Well,
It's
yes,
amazing.
yes. A friend of mine was the old marketing manager there.
Yeah,
Oh, what?
yeah, that almost happened.
We could have had Silver Dollar City.
It would have been efficient.
I think we
but-
should do Dollywood.
Silver Dollar
yes.
City would have been a
I was
massive
gonna say-
undertaking, though, with a cave.
I wouldn't do another regional park in the U.S. before considering one of the more well-themed parks in Europe. Personally,
I mean, as someone who used to work there personally, I'd either like to see a Legoland be built, like Legoland California, since I have all the backstage information on that park. Or actually, because it's nice and wide and open, and all the roller coasters are big there, so it'd probably fit our style really well. Six Flags Magic Mountain. everything's just kind of out there in the open, so it'd be really easy to outline.
I mean, you have someone that can do Six Flags Over Texas and probably.
Yeah, but Six Flags Magic Mountain has all the roller coasters. It's Wally World.
So I would have to go with either Hershey Park or probably Cedar Point.
Oh yeah, and
Look,
I've seen the argument for Cedar Point so much too. That's one that a lot of guests have been like looking for in the MCGP community.
No
Look,
love
I wouldn't
for,
be the-
Hong Kong Disneyland. Interesting.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Shanghai.
Well,
But
Yes,
they said no
please.
Disney.
the question
They
said
said non-Disney.
non-Disney.
Oh, true. Yeah. Or
wouldn't
like
be
Universal
the-
Beijing. You know.
Yeah, no, that one's cool.
Universal.
I wouldn't be
Tokyo.
the resident Canadian if I didn't throw out Canada's Wonderland, just out of obligation.
I'll completely throw SeaWorld San Diego under the bus though.
My vote's Fun Spot. Fun Spot Orlando.
Which one?
Wait, what was that one?
The Old Town one or the other one?
Yeah, Old Town.
Okay.
Oh, that one. Well, with that drop tower.
Yeah.
Christ. No, I'm surprised you didn't say like H2O.
But
Or
that's
whatever.
the that would be like the next step of Model Palooza would be for Fun Spot. It would be the best looking thing on the server. Next question we had was from Anthony, which was, can somebody describe how to outline buildings from Google Earth into Minecraft and height marking them? Ryan then linked to an article that I wrote, which does a pretty good job. But if I'll sort of like repivot this into a more like panel-based question. What advice would you give to somebody who is just starting out with like outlining and trying to figure out how to build stuff one-to-one?
We have a set method.
Which is
First off, make sure that your 3D buildings and your terrain is turned on. And then what we do, because we particularly use Google Earth Pro for this, so that we don't rely on the internet browser to get all your information there. Then from Google Earth Pro, you go to your options, and I believe it's like measurement options or whatever. You go into your options and get to a feature called terrain exaggeration, where it has a ratio. You can put a number between 3 to 0.01, which essentially accentuates the 3D analyzing of the Google Earth that you're looking at. So we always recommend turning that to 0.01 so that the buildings present as flat as possible, because Google Earth will naturally have all of its 3D renderings in a top-down bird's eye view, no real skewing whatsoever. Though sometimes skewing is involved, so always make sure you double-check those 3D renders if you are going to use the squish down method. And then from there, all your buildings should be pretty flat and pretty clean. Make sure that you're picking a reference point that is prominent and that you know you're like kind of center on the money. Because one-to-one building style is essentially like a meter cubed for everything, you're going to have a little bit of give and take on where you place your marker, but as long as you kind of get it centralized on the measuring point you're going off of, and just keep consistent with that point, then from there, you measure off from there, kind of do like a connect the dots, getting to certain key points on a building or on a roller coaster or on a piece of terrain or what have you. And from there, either connecting the dots via like a world edit tool or hand building it so that you can get your connections here and there. And that's kind of like the basis of how to outline pretty efficiently for going from place to place. Now, height mapping is a little bit different. If you can find an official number for whatever you're building on, that's great. A lot of roller coasters, like rcdp.com, has a lot of official numbers for those kind of rides, so it's always good to double check on that site first and then translate that into meters that you're building it in game. But otherwise, your cursor will also give out a reading to whatever you're hovering over if you turn your exaggeration back to 1. And then you should be able to mouse that. And it will give you a rough, pretty close estimate. It won't be 100% accurate, but it will give you a rough estimate to where you're supposed to be on the build that you're trying to height map. And from there, you should be able to like get a more realized 3D build of what you're working on.
Brennan, you should have done a demo panel like I did with ShowScript, kind of showing that process out to people. Maybe we'll just make that as just a produced YouTube video at some point, because I think that'd be a good thing to post.
Maybe like a step-by-step tutorial kind of thing. Because again, I used to teach Imagineer 101, so
no, we can definitely work with that. The first thing that I ever outlined was World Drive, so something simple, relatively like uncomplicated, and difficult to mess up. And then you go more crazy from there once you get comfortable with that.
Yeah, start with square buildings, go from there.
Nice.
Don't
That's,
do what I did.
Yeah.
Or me.
What did you do?
I got roped into outlining new USO.
Oh yeah, that's a nightmare.
I know
I
some
remember
people. I know some people say start by making your house.
That's a good one too.
That is a great one.
I think my first outlining
If your house is
thing
on
was
90.
my first outlining thing was this parking lot over in downtown Disney that no longer exists.
Nice.
Sweet. Do we have any other questions? Somebody's XXBXAXTXX says, my question is,
Hell yeah.
I almost just said bat because those are all the capital letters. But my question is, how do you guys have self-confidence in speaking in these types of meetings with more than 30 people watching live?
Practice,
The
practice,
sec-
practice.
The
Sucking it up.
secret is if I can't see your face, then I don't care. About
Oh,
how
interesting.
many
I was
people I'm
going to.
talking to.
I was gonna say it's very different speaking to a crowd of people on Discord versus in real life.
But
But
so much just feels like a
of it.
recorded conversation, right?
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
really like you're speaking in front of people.
You don't hear the audience either. Like you sort of see the questions, but like this is just a chat between friends more than anything.
Honestly, it's kind of like a podcast.
I'm also used to thousands of people a day and talking to thousands of people, so this is just a walk in the park
Same.
relaxation for me.
I was saying earlier, I've sang the national anthem in front of 1,000+ people, so I don't have nerves anymore. But a lot of that is just getting up and doing it.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just okay, time to do it. Let's go.
I don't personally feel a difference between presenting virtually versus presenting in real life, but I might just be a weirdo. So
I mean, you're probably an extrovert, whereas some of us
I'm
are
really not though.
introverts.
But like I'm really
Oh,
not is the thing.
Okay, I don't know.
I do enjoy performance and presenting though. This is something that
See,
I
if
happen to really enjoy.
If we were actually on a real stage and there was actually 42 people like watching me, I would not be able to talk.
42 people is like a classroom though.
It's a
Yeah,
yeah.
I hated
okay,
public
fair
speaking
enough.
in classrooms.
Fair enough. I don't even know what the most people I've like verbally presented to in person is.
I did 1,200 at a conference once. That was a lot.
Ooh, that's a good question I just got asked.
Yes. Owen 10,027 asks, how do you guys deal if something goes wrong? I have autism and I'm really scared of getting something wrong and talking to people. I think the sorry if I'm gonna like step over everybody here. I think the best thing about the way we operate is we have a really tight feedback loop of having team meetings every week where everybody posts the work that they do and we all review it as a group. And then after that, we'll give feedback on what can be improved and how we can make changes to if something isn't up to the standard or if we have ideas for improvements, going based off that. Like last night, we were talking about Journey of Water and all the cool stuff that we're doing with that attraction. And when it was first presented to us, the musical strings portion, I won't tell the full story just because it was told last night, but the musical string portions wasn't up to what I considered the MCParks standard to be. And so we gave Owen feedback, who then turned around, made those changes, and presented something really well. And I think because the team trusts each other enough that if you're providing that feedback, it's coming from a place of wanting to help rather than a place of putting somebody down. And that's sort of what helps make that difference.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
definitely
say something
true.
similar.
Yeah, definitely true. It's definitely a lot of the culture of it. But also, I definitely still do struggle with the fear of like messing up or not putting out my best or putting something out and having it be misrepresented. That's definitely something that I struggle with all the time. Like for example, this has nothing to do with Imagineers, but like I was definitely feeling a little self-conscious about like not being able to get all of the achievements that I wanted to be out on day one ready, and then seeing people sift through and be like, oh no, it wasn't like I didn't present myself in the way I wanted to be presented. That's very anxiety inducing for me. and likewise going into conversations with people, like I also like feel like, all right, I hope people understand that I'm trying to come at this, being as wholesome as possible. I'm trying to come at this being constructive as possible. And I think the solution is just like over communicate your intentions to people. Don't assume that people can read your mind. Don't assume that people can kind of know the spirit in which you're trying to say things. Yes, meow to you too.
You too, huh?
Genie feels the same way.
That's the same way right here.
Just like over communicate your intentions, I think, is what I would say. So people like totally understand what your deal is and isn't trying to guess what it is. It's hard. It takes practice for sure, but that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
So back when, I'm not sure if anyone remembers fully what happened with it, but when we were doing the MK East work, I think the original plan was just to do facade touch-ups, and wasn't really like big major rebuilds.
Yes.
What ended up happening was with Tomorrowland, was when we went to check to do the facade work, we looked into something with the outline not being right on something. I think the buildings weren't parallel. And I think what resulted in that was a full, I think it took a good meeting between all of us to figure out what we wanted to do, because the whole plan went out the window because we realized we had to completely redo Tomorrowland. Which then snowballed into, we tried to avoid Space Mountain, and then that got completely destroyed as well because we realized that was also wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the plan for pacing in MK East was a mess because I kept going we have to do touch as little rides as possible. Like we can't close half the park
And then
and wait for it to be retacked.
We closed 4 rides, I think, when we did that.
Yeah, I think we settled on 4 rides.
5 counting the monorail.
Did we break the monorail?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, redid the station on, didn't we?
Oh
We
yeah,
gotta
no, we did. You're right.
Yeah, we
Remember when we pasted a new MK and it was 7 meters off?
That is blame Sam.
Yeah, that's a Sam Sagarino original. But
we still have problems with that. The new Contemporary needed some adjustment because of that.
Yeah, we have to use different reference points for Magic Kingdom and the rest of Walt Disney World, because somewhere between Magic Kingdom and Epcot, there's just 7 blocks of error, and it's really bad. You know what? I really hate saying that publicly, because that's something I'm really embarrassed about. But it is the way it is. Or nice 7 meters off.
Don't worry, we're slowly correcting it.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. There's no way to fix that.
There isn't. No, you just have to find better ways to mask it. Luckily, the way that Walt Disney World set up is there really is nothing between Magic Kingdom and Epcot. If we went to go do Fort Wilderness, maybe we've run into problems. But as long as the
Fort Wilderness is outlined and it's relatively accurate.
Yeah, as long as they don't ever do anything with the Vista Boulevard to Epcot Center Drive tract of land, we're fine. So, there was another sort of vulnerability question here that I think a lot of us can probably relate to. This is from Disney Fan 1927. I have horrible ADHD, so I have hyperfixations on certain parks. 1 week it's Walt Disney World, 1 week it's Carowinds, etc. How do you guys stay on every day and work on these things? For me, it'd be just like building on Walt Disney World for a week, then not working on anything for a few months. That's why I'd love to work here, but I don't think I could. Guys,
the secret is
we just do that.
Don't stay on track.
Yes. the secret is it's just ADHD fueled work on a million things at once.
Look,
make little
There is a point
progress on it.
There is a point where within 1 week, Accident worked on Contemporary, Castaway Cay, Universal, and Busch Gardens in the course of a week. And TFN is Castaway.
Yeah, but it was
yeah, anyway, so the secret is we don't focus on one thing at a time.
And that's not even as bad as my slew stuff I did for TDL, DLP, Busch Gardens, Knott's Berry Farm, Epcot, and it's not even just Imagineering work. I also do PA work and deck stuff too.
So we also do what you did ask is we do take breaks. We do. Josh and I are the 2 main people who do the fireworks. We haven't touched a new fireworks show since Christmas time.
Yeah, minis was the last one because I'm just burned out on fireworks right now,
for-
so we just
which
haven't
for
done
us-
it.
Which for us, for the past 2 years, it was almost a show every couple months because we had
Yeah,
all of the
between Disneyland-
shows. Disneyland had all of its shows come out within a total of like I think like 6 months. Other than RDCT, RDCT had a long break between it because we burned ourselves out, which is the problem with it. It's why we jump around because if we don't jump around between projects, we will burn ourselves out, and it's just not fun for us. It gets boring.
And sometimes it is about finding that hyperfixation, right? Like
Yes.
I was really amped about Cruise Line for a while, and so for like 3 weeks, that's all I would do, right? And you know, you roll with it when you get that motivation, and when you don't have that motivation, then you find something else.
Kind of to quote like Top Gear, I will do this perfectly tomorrow.
The amount of times I've quoted that show working on shows, though.
I'll just say it's like, well, that's how it
A
goes. It's like
genius.
we'll have our hyperfixation, and we need to take a break. We'll take a break, but then we'll usually return to the hyperfixation after the break. So
We'll get a headache from bashing our head against the wall and then give up and then come back again and do the same thing over again.
freaking big like tower. Oh, don't get me started on that.
I'm still kind of in my break, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean,
Yeah,
You've been away for a while.
You've been doing the hyperfixation on the GR training side more so than the Imagineer side.
which you've been doing wonderful work with it, by the way.
Yeah, if you like all the new CPs, Rachel is mostly to blame. Blame?
Or Livy. We can blame Livy too. There are multiples of them.
Alrighty, let's see if we have any other questions.
Alex Kyle had one.
Yeah, Ryan, how did you find MCParks? This isn't really an
Well, not that
Imagineer
one, but-
question.
I found MCParks when I was working on my own Walt Disney World project. Fun fact: I really wanted to create like a, RPG MMO kind of thing, and so I needed to build a map for that. So I started working on that. I'm not a good builder though, so it wasn't going very well. And much like our friend Disney fan, I had a problem with like losing motivation and not wanting to work on it for a long time. And so I started looking up some other Minecraft theme park servers, Walt Disney World servers, to see if I could get some inspiration from anyone else. I found at the time what I thought was MCParks because it was spelled capital M lowercase c Parks for some reason. And so I log on, and the owner recognized me from my YouTube channel with 200 subscribers. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I met him at the newly built Contemporary Resort. And we took a picture together, and then he did a 24-hour live stream, and I went on his 24-hour live stream, and we hung out for a couple hours talking about Epcot. And then he said, we should do a Disney Parks podcast. And then we did a Disney Parks podcast. And then I came on the server one day, and I had the tour guide rank. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks for the tour guide rank. And he said, I didn't do it. It was the rest of the people who work here who wanted you to join the team. Like, oh, thank you. And then I became a GR. And then I became
Man,
a
if
GR
only it was
manager.
that easy for everyone.
And then I became, and then after I was a GR manager, I started doing some more back-endy things. And then,
Nepotism is what you're describing.
I mean, I guess, yeah, but look, I never applied, to be clear. But
That's okay. There's several people that didn't apply that are in this.
That's
this
true.
channel.
That's true.
I didn't apply. Not to hear.
Yeah, I can go into that story more depth during the history panel tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually truly applied for Imagineering.
No, well, you kind of
I
came
was just
in
like,
the weird
hey,
cross.
can I come do this? And
Yeah, you came in before we really settled cross training. To be fair, we still haven't really settled cross training.
I stole Rachel and NASA from GRs. Not
you
sorry.
fast tracked me. Like I hit the fast track. I did that one parking lot in DL. The next thing I knew, I was working on Tomorrowland for Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I threw you straight to the parking lot of
NASA.
trees.
Must be nice.
Look, more and I this side, we were gonna approach you differently, Rachel.
Alex Kyle says, "How good do you need to be at 1-to-1 scale to work here?" Pretty good, Alex Kyle.
Considering that's our whole mission statement.
If it makes you feel any better, I
Yeah.
sucked at 1-to-1 when I started.
With the exception of Give Kids the World and obviously custom parks, like everything we do here is
I forgot about Give Kids the World.
1-to-1 real things. So you gotta build it 1-to-1.
You can't get better. You can't get better at it though, but you should probably be good at it if you're starting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I think we're rounding up or wrapping up. If we didn't have any other questions.
Possibly a question about like a timeline scale of like how long it takes for us to build an attraction.
Yeah, that was a question asked.
It highly depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every ride's different, right? Moore was saying we've been working on rides since 2020. You know.
Yeah, but it's you got to remember, like, it's not like we've been 9 to 5 working on it every day.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Or took a break for like 2 years to go work at Disney or something.
Unless you're Dispy who doesn't sleep.
Guys,
To be
it's
fair,
only
I'm starting to think-
4:23 a.m.
I'm starting to think Ryan doesn't sleep either.
I've been sleeping a lot more recently.
Have
But
you?
coming up to the expo, in the past like year, I feel like I've slept way more than I have.
It didn't sound like you had a lot of sleep during your panel earlier today, though.
And yeah, no, not this week. This week's been rough. But hey,
I'll +1 that.
this week's been rough.
You haven't
But,
had one go off on this panel.
Yeah, how's the smoke situation?
Oh, we're fine now. It turns out the air fryer needs to be disassembled and cleaned a bit. It's a little like thing where the smoke's supposed to come out. It's a little gross.
Yeah, and then like also like regarding like time scales, like something like Rise that's super complicated has taken several years. Meanwhile, some other things like I think Volcano Bay was completely reset by Cam in like a week, and like retouched
There's
by
been
me in a week. So.
There's
How
been
long
a couple
did-
things.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's been a couple things like you could have like it could take years, it could take a couple of weeks. I know like one of the big holiday shows everyone likes with Believe in Holiday Magic, that was done in like 3 weeks max, if that.
Yeah, we did that pretty quickly.
That
Well, like,
show
all-
was
Not a ride though.
crazy. Yeah, that show was crazy quick. But some of the rides, like I think Space Mountain was pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, but that's a simple one, right? Because it's just TCC.
Yeah, but
And,
also
like,
Space
getting that
Mountain.
right.
But it was still a
Space
whole
Mountain-
background to rebuild.
Well, Space Mountain also didn't open up with the rest of Tomorrowland when we opened up
didn't.
MK. So,
No, it didn't.
but like also Tiki Room over there in MK only took like a week too.
Yeah, because we just transferred it from Disneyland, which
And
took a
then-
lot longer.
Most holiday things only take a couple of days. So
You have to
And not-
remember though too that building a ride is only half of the challenge, because then you have to do make sure the cart moves around it, and you have to do all the tech effects. You have to get the model ready. You have to get audio ready. Like a ride can look visually built and be like 25% of the way there, because there's a lot that goes into it that you don't see if you were just sort of flying around.
All right. Do we want to end it there? I want to give people.
I think
a
we're
little bit of
coming up
breaks
on an
between
hour and a
panels.
half for
both
both of
panels.
these.
And we're approaching the start of the next panel time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up there.
Woo.
Woo!
All right. Bye, guys.